Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Grab your coffee, maybe a tea, definitely a snack, and let's get into it. So today, what I'm going to be talking about is tsunamis, all right? And when I mean tsunamis, I know everybody thinks of like, you know, where, a huge wave comes over and blah, 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 and all that. Okay, well, there's studies being done, okay? And tsunamis is a natural disaster. And how do you prepare for a tsunami? Okay. When most people hear the word tsunami, okay, because that's a very scary natural disaster, is it not? Right? They imagine the massive wave and, but that's actually a misconception. That's more or less like something that you would see, in a Jerry Bruckheimer film, Michael Bay film, right? And that is something that researchers in Washington state are trying to correct. Okay. Since the state's coastline is at risk of being hit with a devastating tsunami following an earthquake of a magnitude of 7.5, the state is trying to educate the public right now about what it would actually be like. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm going along, okay, I'm going to be putting up pictures so you can see what I'm referencing, okay? Now, the Washington State Department of Natural Resources has released a wave simulation study, and that was done in July, and shared a bit of startling news. A tsunami in the I don't know if I'm saying this right, Puget, Puget Sound could engulf Seattle's shoreline, leaving it under more than 20 feet of water within minutes. Now, several videos have also been released along with the study that illustrates how an earthquake triggered tsunami would most likely cause water to inundate the coastal areas around Seattle. Okay, now from land, a tsunami functions and looks more like a storm surge from a hurricane than a tidal wave. Okay, so here's a picture. I'm going to, do this a couple of times. Here you go. Now, this has been something that these videos kind of pull like the curtain back on, okay, and help educate not only the public but also emergency managers and anyone who's interested in tsunamis. Are you interested in tsunami, Stormy? To understand how they behave geographically over time. Now, this has been said by a geologist, and his name is Daniel Ungard, and that's Eungard. Okay, and all it takes is a few feet of water on the mainland to devastate a community, and this is according to experts. All right, now tsunamis are an unusual series, no stormy, an unusual series of powerful, moving, and extensive increases of water that can be expected to following a locally felt earthquake or something as far away as like South Pacific Island volcano. Okay. Now, in the US, there are over 90 million people living in coastal counties. Okay, so this would be like Washington State. Okay, I would even think maybe even Alaska. Okay, now go down California, New Mexico, even Mexico. Okay, now let's come up the Gulf. Okay, so you go Texas. Okay, Louisiana. Okay, Florida. Now go up. All right, and then all up the East Coast, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Okay, do you see what I mean? All right. Now, and this is including more than 30 million on just on the West Coast. All right. Now, while tsunamis big enough to flood North America are extremely rare, the data from this Washington study concludes that tsunami waves could reach the shoreline in fewer than 3 minutes. 3 minutes, that's not even enough time to grab your phone, grab your purse, grab your keys, get in the car and get out. That's not even enough time. Think about it. How long, okay, just seriously, how long does it take for you to grab your purse? Okay, here's just a small purse that I have. Okay, grab my phone. My keys are hanging out. All right. Now, do you have a dog or a pet? Okay. Now, are you on meds? Go grab your meds. What about important paperwork? Do you know where they are? Now, what about your bug out bag? Do you have a bug out bag for your pet? Okay, well, this is what I'm getting at. It takes more than 3 minutes. We're screwed. Okay, so it would take fewer than 3 minutes in any areas, many areas, okay, of Western Seattle, including parts of Bainbridge Island, Elliott Bay, Alki Point, and it's ALKI. And the tsunami inundation and strong currents have the potential to continue for more than 3 hours. 3 hours from the start of the earthquake. And this is according to their simulation. Okay, here's another picture. Now, the West Coast is considered to be at a high risk to a very high risk for these phenomena because of the tectonic plates. Now, you know what tectonic plates are, okay, that meet in this part of the country. Okay, tectonic plates are what causes earthquakes. Okay. And large earthquakes in these areas can cause the seafloor to rise and spark a tsunami. And according to the National Weather Service, the U.S.'s most damaging tsunami was caused by the Great Alaska Earthquake of 1964, which was a magnitude of 9.2. Now, a 7.5 earthquake striking in the area is very unlikely in any given year, but it is possible. All right. Now, although the chances of this happening in our lifetime is low, it's important for families to get prepared now. All right. That's why I'm talking about this, because you know as well as I do, with all of this weather manipulation shite going on, you don't know who has what up their frickin' sleeve. Right on? So prepare now. In whatever way you feel is necessary, just do it. Right? So, the ground, okay, the ground shaking, that'll be like your warning. Okay? That a tsunami may be on the way. Make sure you know where your closest high ground is with the quickest route to get there. Tsunamis are caused by underwater disturbances such as earthquakes, tectonic plates, okay, I was just talking about that, landslides, volcanic eruptions that push water upward and outward okay, toward the coast. Now, the water rises, sometimes violently, all right, rushing inland, causing flooding and potential disaster. Now, the deeper in the ocean, tsunami waves, they have the ability to travel as fast as jetliners, all right? You know how fast a jetliner can go. Now, however, they may look much different closer to the shore, okay? Now, a tsunami is more like storm surge from a hurricane rather than a breaking ocean wave you surf. Who here has, because a lot of us were either from the West Coast or the East Coast, okay? Have you ever surfed in your lifetime? Get on the surfboard with a wetsuit? Have you ever surfed? Yeah? I'm from Atlantic City. Of course, I used to surf when I was a kid. Yeah. All right? Yeah, I surfed. I loved it. All right? So, however, icons and visualizations, they often portray a tsunami as like the ideal surf wave. Point Break. Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves, at the very end of the movie, he's in Hawaii. Was it Hawaii? Bali. It was somewhere. And he's that Point Break, that wave, huh? And it looked like a tsunami and it's coming up and boom, and that's where okay? That's what I'm talking about, all right? If you've ever seen the movie Point Break, that's what I'm talking about, that wave, all right? Now, and this includes artwork such as the Great Wave of Kanagawa, okay? Point Break, okay? Now, tsunamis can be extremely deadly if sparked by a massive earthquake. Now, in 2004, a tsunami in the Indian Ocean pummeled massive nations in Asia and caused at least 225,000 deaths, along with massive destruction. It was a magnitude of 9.1 quake off the coast of Indonesia island of Sumatra. All right, now North America has 2 tsunami warning centers tasked with tracking and sounding the alarm in the event of underwater earthquakes that could cause a tsunami on the West Coast. Now, one covers Hawaii and the U.S. Pacific territories, and one covers the rest of the country and Canada. Now, these centers alert local authorities when residents may need to evacuate the vulnerable areas. All right. Now, at 6:09 a.m. on January 15th, the National Weather Service issued a tsunami advisory for the entire West Coast because a volcano that erupted in the Pacific Ocean. Now, it's also added that California's emergency services and the National Weather Service work together, advising local communities on potential tsunami risks. They also have a warning plan in place that they urge the residents to have their own plan to evacuate inland, go to higher ground, right on. However, it can be problematic for people who live near the coast and who aren't near high ground. And many of these areas could be difficult to quickly evacuate, especially if the warning creates a traffic jam. Now, if you've ever been to LA, you know what the traffic jam is, all right? Just like being in New York, being in Jersey, being in Philly, you know what a traffic jam is, right? Now, according to the city of Santa Monica, California, Most buildings, they cannot withstand the impact of these strong tsunami waves. So the best option is to evacuate inland. If that's not possible, the city says upper stories of some strong and tall buildings would provide limited protection. And that could be important for vulnerable populations or individuals without transportation who may not be able to get inland. And a tsunami could arrive within minutes, like I said, within less than 3 minutes or hours later. So swift evacuation might also be extremely difficult for people with disabilities, highlighting the need for preparation. So some scientists, they also, and geologists as well, also believe that climate change plays a role in these potentially devastating disasters, but mostly in Alaska, where melting glaciers are a real threat. Now, as global warming continues to thaw these glaciers, right, and permafrost, landslide created tsunamis are emerging as a greater threat, not just in Alaska, but in places like British Columbia, Norway. All right, in the same statement that has been made by a geologist named Steve Masterman. He said that data shows that the glacier retreating from the Barry Arm, B-A-R-R-Y, Barry Arm, could release tons of rock into the Harriman Ford, which is east of Anchorage, triggering a significant tsunami. Now, the most noteworthy of these tsunamis was in 1958, when a landslide entered the Lituya, and that's Lituya, Bay Fjord, and that's F-I-O-R-D, in Glacier Bay, and it generated a wave that went 1,700 feet up the opposite side of the fjord. Imagine that. And the most recent was at Southeast Alaska's T-A-A-N Glacier in 2015, where a wave went 600 feet up in the opposite wall of the Glacier Valley. So we can prepare or not. I leave it up to you. How to prepare, I don't know. But this is a real threat. Natural disasters are a serious threat. All right? All right, guys, I'm out of here. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe. You stay positive. You keep prepping. And as always,